Welcome to Portland International Raceway as the 30th uninterrupted consecutive season of SRO America World Challenge competition continues in the shadow of Mount Hood. Absolutely beautiful view here at Portland International Raceway. It's the 59th annual Rhodes Cup races presented by Fast Life TV, and this one is going to feature a couple of very entertaining classes, Touring Car R and Touring Car A in the 9th round for TCR, along with the TCR Cup subcategory, and then the TCA class in their 7th round of the championship. There's a look at the front row, and Cal, you take a look at the qualifying order in this one. It is tight.
It's unbelievable. We got the top three separated by 5/100ths of a second, and then you got Hertz in the championship leader just a 10th back from there. So this promises to be an excellent show here this afternoon.
Yeah, it should be indeed, and a big field of TCA cars to boot. And let's get down to the third member of our team, Ryan Marin.
Thank you, Greg. One of the cool stories this weekend is Victor Gonzalez in the number 99 Honda. Made his season debut with us at Sonoma and really did a great job, kind of lit the paddock on fire. It's a very small operation. The team is proudly Puerto Rican. In fact, because of their strong runs at Sonoma, they picked up sponsorship from the Puerto Rican brewery Medalla, which they're pretty keen to give out to folks in the paddock, which is quite all right with me. Victor is a tremendous talent behind the wheel. He's been fast in every instance that we've seen him so far. They've been conserving their tires, though, and might have had an issue with their gear shifter in qualifying. So we've talked about how close the top 5 were in qualifying. You might want to make that a top 6 when the green flag falls.
Yeah, and he has shown to be an incredibly gifted driver in terms of tire preservation and having a car that is wickedly fast late in the going, isn't he? And it's going to be fun. Here's a look at that front row. And Mason Filippi ran at Circuit of the Americas, then missed the next round, but has come back and has been really very much on form. Nate Vincent alongside. Then here, James Walker, late in that qualifying session, just threw in an absolutely superb lap, Cal.
He did, and the Alpha's really been running strong this year. They rebounded from that incident at St. Pete. Took them a couple of rounds to really get back on their feet, but certainly very strong here. Risi Competizione has victories here in big races in the past.
All right, and as we continue to show you the rest of the starting lineup, we're going to head back up to the front of this field to get ready for that special command to set this field underway. She is the daughter of one of the drivers in the GT4 category. To give us that command, it's Paige DeBoer.
Drivers, start your engines.
Absolutely great job, and of course Derek DeBoer and his wife do Fast Life TV, the presenting sponsor of this weekend, and a great TV show that is available on various different programming options that just follows racing, and certainly Derek DeBoer is racing in the SRO America Championship. We go back now. Here's a look at the TCA field, and you think that TCR field is close. This one equally good.
It really is, and Tyler Maxson, coming off a sweep of the weekend at Sonoma, has really closed down that championship lead that Nick Whitmer has. He sits right alongside Nick on the second row of the grid, 11-point spread right now in the points.
And Tyler had an absolutely remarkable June, Cal. Of course, he had that sweep at Sonoma. Then he went to the June Sprints, which is one of the most prestigious of all of the SCCA club events, and had a big weekend there, winning in his class. And another driver, the one who sits on pole in the TCA category, Chris Haldeman, in the X Factor Racing Honda Civic SI, he drove a Honda Civic SI at the June Sprints in a class where they were basically able to just unleash everything that that car had in terms of potential. And he just put on a stunning show there. So a couple of guys really having a good June and looking to carry all that momentum into July. And speaking of a guy who's in the world of TV, Damon Scherzen, who's got a TV production company. He's a Canadian ice racer and does some summer racing. But in the summer, he likes to come down here and race. And but he's got some great television production and does working on a show covering this season in the TCA class for Tech Sport Racing. Some exciting stuff here for Damon Scherzen. And he had a little bit of a problem in qualifying. He's back a bit farther than he would like to be. And I made one note here. Michael Hertzen early in the weekend told me that they had broken a gear, and they went in, replaced that gear, but they said when they looked at it, the other gears were okay but a little worn. They were waiting on a gearbox arriving. He said, if it gets here in time, we'll put in the brand new box. Otherwise, the replaced gear is fine. It's just going to be a matter of the others hanging in there. Didn't seem to bother him too much in qualifying. He put up a great time.
Yeah, he really did. And talking to him and Nate Vincent, his teammate, they're going to continue to race each other pretty hard. I mean, Hertzen has such a healthy lead right now of 41 points. But if it should tighten up, Nate said, I'll do the right thing in terms of supporting the teammate. But he wants to get a win here this afternoon in the biggest way.
Well, he put in a lap in qualifying, didn't he? It was great. As you talked about how close it is. Mason Filippi in that Copeland Motorsports Hyundai Veloster and TCR, missing that one round. So he's got a lot of ground to try and make up here, but they're committed for the rest of the season. And as we've talked about, what a great addition Victor Gonzalez is. New one to the TCR class, up from TCR Cup, is Michael McCann Jr. He ended up in an incident and had a big damage to the TCR Cup car at Sonoma, and they had a guy named Britt Casey run a TCR class car there, and they decided to put Michael into that car for this weekend. Let's get back down to Ryan.
Eric Peterson is the crew chief for Brian Putt. What is the strategy as we get closer to the start of this race?
Really just to stay clean. We have 40 minutes racing, and everybody's pretty evenly matched, so everybody's within a couple of tenths of each other. So it's about staying clean and trying to have something at the end.
The season so far, has it been to your expectations?
It's actually exceeded. Brian's actually done a little bit better than we expected at the very beginning. It's his first year in real serious racing, and he's taken to it very well.
Where has he seen the most gains?
It's actually in the fact that he learns the tracks quicker now. He's not behind the car, he's actually ahead of the car, so it makes it easier for him to come to the track and get up to speed.
From an engineering standpoint, what challenges does this particular track present?
It's a little bit challenging based on the weather conditions constantly changing. The track changes a lot when it gets hot in the afternoon like it is now, so you try not to trick yourself in the morning when we have practice and stuff like that.
Appreciate the time. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a revelation. Brian Putt has showed up here. He did a lot of racing earlier in his life, then took a long break. His son got into European trials riding, and he followed him on the European circuit. Came back, said, I want to go racing again. Ended up doing some prototype racing in SCCA club competition, and then heard about this TCR class and said, that's what I want. And here's that track that his crew chief was just talking about being a little tricky in terms of temperature.
It really is, and as he said, it's warming up a little bit late in the nothing like we saw here last year where we saw triple-digit temperatures, but 12 turns, just under 2 miles. Looking at the sectors there, that first sector, what we're now calling the Shelton chicane there, turns 1, 2, and 3. Very tricky to get through there cleanly, particularly on the initial start. Then a very kind of tight section there. You got to really show a lot of patience to get through the end of sector 1, beginning sector 2, then that very critical turn 7, that tight right-hander on the back straight away. That is a key corner on this racetrack.
And that back straight, just that long bending back straight, and then into 10 and 11, which is just a quick high-speed transition, left, right, and then into another crucial corner. You got to get through turn 12 to get that run onto the main straight here. It's a track we talk about a lot. We just came off probably one of the most undulating tracks you can imagine at Sonoma. This one is absolutely flat, set right here below almost sea level in the delta here, but it presents challenges.
It does. Drivers like it. Tough to pass, so track position is key. Filippi got that pole, which could be really a great starting point to maybe bring home another victory for Hyundai. Been very strong here. And just want to give a shout out to the FCP Euro CEO, Scott Droz. He's not here this weekend. Big supporter of his 2 cars. He got married to Allison yesterday, so I'm not sure what the drivers think about that, picking a wedding date when there's a race going on. But
seriously?
Nonetheless, hopefully he's watching here, and congrats, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. And we're getting a report we may redo that start command here. There was a little bit of a delay. They didn't catch up. All right, here we go. Engines are coming to life. So now we've got the official engine start, so we will be able to go racing, anticipating 2 formation laps or 2 pace laps here, and then 40 minutes of racing competition. There's a look at that second row, Walker and that Alfa Romeo Giulietta, and then the VW alongside, FCP Euro Racing, and the rest of the field setting off here. Of course, everybody running the Pirelli P0 tire. It's going to be interesting to see what Mike McCann can do with that move up into TCR. He certainly showed some pace in TCR Cup, but I don't think it's not by any stretch out of his reach here, although he does not have a lot of car racing experience. Most of his racing came in three-wheeler competition. He said, which is basically trying to control something that's never remotely close to being in control. And he said, but I did a lot of track day stuff, and with just family cars, and the parents started to realize that I was going pretty quick, and they said, yeah, we need you something with a little more protection in it. And he did some serious performance days, and they decided to get him ready to go racing. As we take a look now at the starting lineup, Filippi, big pole. But remember, we did see in the GT4 race earlier today, outside pole can lead.
Yes, it's tricky to negotiate that Shelton chicane and get through there cleanly. So if you're aggressive and you get the run at the outside, it is possible to sweep across and then be on the inside line for the tight left-hander turn 2. One thing that I have noticed so far this weekend, that tire degradation that we had masses of at Sonoma has not been a factor here this weekend. This racetrack does not really abuse the tires, so we saw some really fast laps being laid down in the end of a 60-minute race earlier this afternoon with the GT4 cars. So expect the TCR cars to maintain their pace as they burn off a little bit of fuel. Could be even quicker in the late going.
Yeah, this one I think should be really entertaining because both classes, TCR and TCA, just have the potential here to be some really, really good scraps. And you know, in that TCA field, you got Haldeman, but then you got Pombo in the mini JCW team STEP entry. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Nick Whitmer, a runaway early point leader, who the last couple of races has had a couple of little issues. He's right there. Maxon, we have seen, has been super quick. Norenberg in the second mini is fast. PJ Gronke. He said the car really feels good this weekend. He's really excited about the potential there. Robert Crocker, who had a tough go at Sonoma, but is pretty excited. He's never been here before. He missed the entire first day with a mechanical issue, Cal, and then came out and qualified 7th.
That's amazing, because track time is so important. You don't get a ton of it, so if you're not turning on the race car, typically everyone is leaping ahead of you.
He's putting it down to Shane Lewis-style new sideburns that he's got. I said
he's
down
got some chops.
Yeah, and he said, he said they're my personal aero dive plane, so I just lean out the window a little bit. A couple of other good runs here. Sally McNulty qualifying 9th. That's one of her best qualifying efforts in this year, and she just continues to impress, getting quicker and quicker every event. And Taylor Hagler, who's had a podium. Taylor in the X Factor Racing, the number 77 entry. Taylor really has shown some great form this year in speed. Didn't get the qualifying run she wanted today. She's outside of the top 10. That's unusual for her.
Yeah, I meant to check in with that team because looking at qualifying yesterday, she only got 3 laps put down before she stopped the session. So I'm not sure if she had something go wrong with the car, because she was a lot further up the field in terms of the practice times earlier this weekend.
And again, just always want to say a big hello and shout out to Jose De Silva for the small Ives Motorsports, the Mazda Global MX-5 Cup entry. This is the first year we've seen him. Usually he runs 2 or 3 races, and this year I think he's only missed 1. Great to have him right there in that white Mazda for the championship. I don't think he's ever been here before, made the long haul out. It'll be fun to see what he's able to do as this race unfolds. Lights out on the Acura Pace and safety vehicle. That is the approach to turn number 10. And very fast left-right chicane, and we are getting ready to go. 40 minutes of racing. As we always say, by rule, you've got to be in 2 completely perfect lines. If you show more than a headlight, that can be considered a jump start. Once the green flies, though, it's game on.
Yeah, you can pass before the start-finish line, but you've got to wait for that flag to even move out of line, as you explained, Greg.
One of the drivers' meetings, they showed a flock of ducks flying south for the winter and said, we really don't want to see this coming out onto the front straight anytime this season. It was a great graphic. All right, there we go. Waiting for that green to fly. 40 minutes of competition. Round 9 for TCR. Round 7 for TCA. Green flag it is, and Filippi looks like he did get the drop just a little bit. And here comes Walker up the inside of Nate Vincent. Can he make it stick? He's there, Cal.
He is, but Nate Vincent is pretty aggressive there. He slides the FCP Euro machine back up into the 2nd spot, gives Herzen a run as Walker does knock it off the Shelton chicane with a lot of exit speed.
No, we didn't. And Victor Gonzalez, though, got a nice start, slipped around Michael McCain. Yeah, and you're right, Walker losing out on that spot to Herzen. And Vincent would have really liked Walker to get between himself and his teammate.
Yeah, well, typically this is what James Walker does. He has kind of a normal start and then just comes to life late in the going. See what he can do here today. Gonzalez there now starting to put the pressure on for that 4th position on the Alpha.
And I wonder with Gonzalez, we talked about his just a great gift in being able to preserve tires. Oop, that's Mark Pombo. That's a big off by one of the front runners, qualified 2nd and 3rd in the points in that mini JCW entry. So you don't see him make mistakes very often, so you wonder if there wasn't maybe a little touch or something that caused some issues here. But I was going to say with Gonzalez, you don't have to worry that much about tire deg here. And so I wonder if we're going to see him just get up on the wheel a little bit more early.
Yeah, you're right. You're not going to see the big delta between drivers that have used their tires up. I don't expect anyway. You never know. Different class, use the tires a different way. Everyone's settling in. Philippi just gaining experience every weekend, just really becoming an accomplished GT racer here.
Oh, look at McCann trying to get
that's nice.
Inside, and Gonzalez not giving him much room. A little bit of lockup, but stayed right with him.
Good job, Mike McCann.
That was sweet. Right behind them is that blue and white Europart Row Racing TCR Cup Audi machine. Pole sitter and point leader Brian Putt. Stephen Vita right behind him in the red TCR Cup Audi that runs with the EXR Team by Prima program. He made his debut at Sonoma, showed up. This is his first season of real solid professional racing, and his first ever race put in a pole. So he's somebody to keep an eye on right there in that red Audi as well.
A lot of experience in that camp with Alex Prima.
Oh yeah.
One of the standout sports car drivers of the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, you want to coach, he's about as good as it gets, huh?
Audi factory pilot for a long time, runs in the V8 Supercar Series down in Australia.
For no less a team than Penske. Not bad. You go from Red Bull 888 to Penske. That's a good. There's Pombo. Boy, that's a huge blow for him.
Very much so. He's had 4 second-place finishes this year, looking for that victory, but doesn't look like it's going to come here today without a miracle.
Yeah, look at this. Vincent Filippi got the drop at the lead, but Vincent has not let him go. Here's another look at it. You can see Walker trying to get underneath.
He did everything he could. He couldn't really go anywhere with Filippi right in front of him, and Nate Vincent gets a good run there off the Shelton chicane, and Hurtson gets a run with him. There's the outside line, and James just gives it up there as they turn in for turn 4.
And you can see Gonzalez behind them sneaking around McCann, and McCann has since got back around. Here we go through turn 4, 5, 6 now. It's a long left-hander. Now back to live action. Filippi, Vincent, Hurtson, the 2 FCP Euro teammates.
James Walker, he started getting in his groove.
Yep.
And the Alpha was really quick through that sector earlier in this weekend. Seems like it's got really good straight line speed at the moment with the balance of performance regulations, which are controlled globally.
Problem there, the number 44, big plumes of smoke.
Gronke.
That's PJ Gronke. And oh, this is gonna. He felt he had a really good shot this weekend. He said he came out first practice. He said really was going after it so we could really dial this car up. It felt great. And now big issue here.
Sure if he's laying down oil. Looks like he is.
He might be. You can hear it. It is just truly one of the nicest human beings ever, let alone in this paddock. And fast. Let's see him struggle again this weekend. Ooh, Hurtson. Does he? He does.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
He's just showing off.
He is. That's a handbrake turn.
One of the things with these little front-wheel drive turbo machines, you just get sideways, just bury the throttle, and it'll pull it out straight.
Literally, you point the front wheels the way you want to go and give it some throttle. You're dropping back. This is the battle for the lead in TCA. Haldeman in that X-Factor Honda Civic, and then Whitmer in that Tech Sport Subaru.
Well, we've seen Whitmer in races past just be very conservative in the early going, really managing his tires and coming on strong late in the going. But with that sweep of the weekend at Sonoma, he's got to be thinking about the big picture of the championship. He can't afford for Maxon to get another victory.
And there's a recovering Matt Pombo. Let's get down to Ryan Marin.
Unfortunately, that Mini came to pit lane at the end of the opening lap. It sounds like he made some contact because he had a left front Pirelli that was down. There was a little bit of damage on the car as well. They've replaced that tire and sent him back out, but obviously a lot of ground lost here in the early going.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You see that STEP on the side as he's heading back into the pit lane, so it might be a little deeper even than that, Ryan. He's coming back in, but it's the Service Technician Education Program, and it's part of the BMW group. And they've got it for BMW, they've got it for Mini, and also for the auto body repair. And what it is, I think it's a 16-week program, and what it does is if you've completed a post-secondary tech school in automotive mechanics, you can apply for this, and if you get it, you finish that program, you get into a dealership at a higher certified level than if you just come up through the ranks. And it's a great dealer placement program. They're very proud of it. They have it for Mini, they have it for BMW, as I said. And then what they do, they take it to another level, and it isn't really affiliated with STEP, but if you're a service technician in one of the dealerships and your service manager thinks you're really doing a stellar job, they nominate, you can end up embedded with one of these cars.
We have 3 of them here this weekend from many of Portland and Oregon.
Local dealerships, absolutely.
Sorry, Portland and Vancouver, excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. Get word now that the second visit to pit lane was a drive-through, so apparently, which makes sense. Sometimes you get frustrated when you have a fast car and it's exceeded the limit a little bit heading out. Good battle here, a little bit farther back in the pack here. And I was talking about what was De Silva going to be able to do. How about this gal? He started in the 13th spot in class. He's 6th. And that white Mazda, he is flying right now.
He really is. And
is that Taylor Hagler?
It is. She's having a really nice run here.
Great recovery as well. Yeah, she started 12th.
Really nice young lady. Had a chance to chat with her yesterday.
And she's quick. She had a podium earlier this year, so it's her first time stepping up to this level of pro competition, and hasn't missed a beat here. They're both chasing. That's the number 25, I think, of Cole Cerullo.
Gronke's day is done.
Gronke, yeah. He will be gutted. He thought this could be a good weekend for him.
Taylor down to the inside.
Nice.
He's by De Silva. Honda looks really quick here.
Yes, it does.
Evidenced by Haldeman's pole, and still holds the lead over Whitmer right now.
So that makes this Cerullo is in that red and white Honda, is in the 5th spot now. Hagler in 6th, De Silva 7th. Oh, Walker starting to get a bit racy on Hertzen.
That's our
and he's got to go,
leader.
doesn't he?
He does. McCann's starting to put the pressure on. Gonzalez has faded just a little bit.
Yeah, and that lead duo right now, Filippi and Vincent, they've opened up about 2 seconds back to these guys.
Great to see McCann Jr. right up there in the
Isn't
mix.
it?
Could bode well for the last rounds of this championship. Long way to go yet.
Yes. And you know, this is sort of in a way, I think, a defining moment for him, because at Sonoma, he ended up on the roof, upside down in one of the turns, and didn't get a chance to run. And you know, Dorsey Schrader put it once, you know, and say, well, he's really fast. Yeah, but he hadn't been upside down yet. And it's after that when you find out. And to see Mike McCann Jr. come back and be this racy, he's ready to do it and get serious with it, and that's great to see. Let's check in with Ryan Marin.
Unfortunately, we're here chatting with PJ Gronke, who's out of the car far earlier than any of us would have liked. What happened, PJ?
Unfortunately, the engine let go. I'll admit it, it's a bit on my part. We were doing really good in qualifying yesterday, and Joe came over the radio and said if I picked up a couple tenths, I'd be up into 4th. And I missed a shift on the front straight on that flyer I was trying to go for. We thought the engine was okay, but obviously not. So this one's on me.
Is there anything you can do to be ready for tomorrow, or does this then compound your weekend?
We got engines in
all right.
trailer ratings. So screw this. I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm going to go from the back to the front.
I like the attitude. Sorry to see you out so soon. Looking forward to having you put on a show for us tomorrow.
Got it. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And he makes these trips. He's from Canada, up in Toronto. He's a car man, a service manager, and he has it in his work contract that he gets time to go racing, and he just loves it so much. As I said, and he's got about 50 small sponsors is how he goes about it.
Yep.
And I just wanted to point out something about his approach, his love and his passion for this. Walking through the pit lane when everybody's in their hauler, PJ's leaning up against the wall out in the pit lane. Doesn't matter what cars are out there, just soaking it up when he's not studying data. He just is passionate about this, and just such a class guy. And a little frustrated there as well.
Yeah, the smile on his face, great attitude, and that's what
Totally.
life and certainly racing, because it'll deal you some hard knocks in this paddock.
Yeah, it will indeed. So there's Filippi and Vincent, then the Mini of Pombo.
Watch Walker here.
He's got speed, doesn't he?
He does. He's looking down to the inside.
Looking at the 95 there, it's Ben Bettenhausen.
Vincent putting the pressure on Filippi. Filippi
Yes,
getting
he
defensive
is.
there in his line into turn 4. Now he's got to get through this chess game of the traffic.
This is exactly the scenario that Vincent was looking for some sort of an opportunity here. That's there's the 74 Maxon, running third in class right now, and right behind Maxon. Oh, excuse me, that is the 69 of Haldeman and Whitmer. And this is Whitmer looking for the lead, not quite there. But Haldeman hanging on to it here. Pole, good lead at this stage. But Whitmer right there and hounding. As I said, Haldeman running one of these cars with absolutely no restriction on it in a class at the June Sprints. You could really see it was just unleashed what those cars can do here. There's a look at the 95 Bet. Now, ooh, big moment. Nice save by Ben. Very new to him. Started racing late, even though he's part of the Bettenhausen family, the famous Indy family. He's been a car lover, but he hasn't raced until later in his life.
Oh, Vincent looks down to the inside on Philippi. He's really putting the pressure on. FCP Euro machine looks strong here this weekend. One of their best weekends. Remember last year they didn't have the DSG box. They're kind of in a subclass all to their own, but they felt this was their strongest racetrack last year, so they were really looking forward to getting back here at Portland. And it's showing in terms of their pace right now. Hertzen has caught up with this lead duo as well as they encounter traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vincent, when I talked to him earlier, he said, Greg, the car feels phenomenal. He said, I'm not going to make a whole lot of changes to it because it's just plain fast.
Hertzen looks to the inside of his teammate. I don't think that was a legit move there, but just holding down that inside line to not open up the door for Walker, who's still keeping the pressure on in fourth position right now.
Yeah, you can see Vincent was a bit compromised as he went by Cole Chirallo. Filippi was able to slide through a little bit more clean, and when Vincent went to get him, he had to keep it pinched to the inside, and it just slowed down his exit speed through that section of track. So now we'll see whether he's able to run him down. But as you said, now Hertzen and Walker have joined the party, haven't they?
Yeah, Hertzen had to get pretty defensive down that long bending back straightaway between 9 and 10. He just put the car in the middle of the road. Nowhere for James Walker to go with his Alpha. Yeah,
Vincent, that lap hurt him when he got caught up inside of Chirallo there. Filippi turning a 120.9, Vincent a 121.2, then Hertzen a 120.7, Walker a 120.7. Here dancing on the throttle, balancing that car.
Yeah, that's what you have to do through this sector is you don't use the brake a lot. You're just really trying to get the car to turn, get some weight on the nose by just lifting off the gas pedal and moving the weight forward. Allows the front tires to turn a little bit more effectively. Just have to be super patient. But talking to Nate and Michael Hertzen this weekend about what this program has done is we see a great battle here.
This is the lead in TCA.
It is. Whitmer's got it. Haldeman's dropped back a little bit, and Maxon has caught this lead duo as well, and he takes over the second position, so Haldeman goes from the lead back to third.
And Norenberg right there in the second mini in fourth.
Look at that line that Whitmer took there. That was beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Using every inch of that entrance road to the secondary pit lane here at PIR.
Well, this group, the proverbial blanket, covers these guys here. Boy, Maxon's fast.
He is.
Look at that.
Good news for Whitmer. He thought, okay, I'm going to get maximum points. Uh-oh, the guy is really close to me in the championship.
Yeah, but Nick's, look at that. He's, ooh, Tyler dancing on the brakes. What a great battle this is.
That Mini looks quick too in fourth. Norenberg.
Well, they got to be liking this because they really struggled a bit at Sonoma with the tire degradation here when they're having the fronts do everything. Here it's not an issue, and I think he can push a bit.
Look at the dynamic here. Yes. TCR leaders have caught this TCA lead pack. Got to try and thread their way through with guys who are racing hard.
Oh, Norenberg's off.
Not sure if Filippi got inside and just surprised him, but Mini tries to recover quickly. Back on track.
Nice.
Walker now gets around him.
And a nice read on that by Walker. He could have lost a lot more and watched exactly how it was playing out here. Well, let's see. Does Vincent have an opportunity here? Looks, no, not going to be able to slice through. But again, that allows Hertzen to be right in the mix. And Walker didn't lose much, Cal.
No, he's right through the traffic in the same sector. So this is good news for him to keep the pressure on those leaders. It's about an 8 to 9 second delta in lap time between these TCR cars and the lead TCA cars. So they'll they'll gallop off here pretty quickly.
Everybody can get into their own class battles. And here comes Tyler Maxson looking down to the inside for the lead in the TCA class. We're watching this battle at the overall lead, but the battle in TCA is fierce at this moment.
Seems like Max has got the straightaway speed to
sure
get the move done,
does.
but Whitmer keeps coming back at him into the brake zone.
Here
but
it
this
is.
time Maxson has got through.
So Haldeman, who started on pole, led a lot of the race, now sits in third. Ryan, what's the team saying?
Let's check with Sean McCallion from X Factor Racing, the team manager. Will qualified great, led quite a bit here early and has slipped back a little bit. Has he been talking to you much about what the car is doing?
He has been. The car is just fine. It's getting a little warm out, getting started. He's in a good competitive spot right now, even though we're in third place. He's still in a good spot right now. He's doing just fine.
So keeping those leaders in position where if something happens, he can make a move. Do you think this car might come back to him as the race goes along?
I have no doubt this Honda Civic's a great car. Got a great driver behind the wheel. He's going to be just fine.
Thank you, Sean.
Appreciate you.
Gonzalez forcing the issue on McCann here, used traffic, and just out-deeped him into 10. You don't see that often, Cal.
No, it's really cool. He's got a lot of experience. I was chatting to him this weekend. I said, have you run here before? He said, believe it or not, I ran in the North American Touring Car Championship back in the mid-90s.
Oh, boy.
So that's the sort of experience he's got, but he's just come on our radar recently.
Yep.
And doing some great things with this TCR Honda.
I remember calling that race here. Now, you know, since you mentioned it, where Randy Popes was running in it, Petey Cunningham. Short-lived, but a really, really good close series. And that makes sense. Yeah, he was definitely up and in that as we go back to that TCA battle. Once again, Maxson is through, but Whitmer staying right with him. But that Mazda does seem to have some pretty solid straight line stout speed, doesn't it?
It really does, and that's got to be frustrating, Nick Whitmer, who can be a little bit later on the brakes, it looked like. But they're pretty even over the lap, but that straightaway speed could be perfect for Maxson to get his third victory in a row.
You know what, looking at the monitors here, the battle in TCR Cup, Brian Putt a lot of times just sort of checks out in the field. Steven Vita having none of that. He's within a second in the battle for that class, 7th overall right now. So everywhere we're looking, we are seeing some, here they come. That red Audi, 4th car in the shot right now behind the silver Audi. That is the battle for the lead in the TCR Cup. So you've got TCA leaders right there. And then the next 2 cars in frame are the TCR Cup leaders. There's Putt and there's Vita. Brian Putt, boy, would he love to clear those 2 cars and get Vita trapped, but I think there's just too much speed of those TCR cars compared to the TCA machines. He should be able to clear them. They both do, yep. That might have parked Maxson a little bit and give Whitmer a shot here, though.
It's a fascinating battle. It'll go right down to the wire, just coming up on the halfway point, just over 20 minutes to run here. Lap time still super impressive. We just seen Vincent Gonzalez lay down their fastest laps of the race. This is what we expected. It's not a high tire degradation race circuit. Call it medium grip. It's not high grip, but certainly a lot more grip available than what we saw at Sonoma.
The biggest thing is it doesn't do much to hurt the tires, does it? It's really, really solid, and that helps. Whitmer doing everything he can, watching him in the background, trying to figure out a way to get around Maxson. Oh, and a problem for De Silva. Yeah, I think you're right. Now, this could be a caution. There's a little divot back behind that curb, but I think it's broken and
just looks like the camber is off, like the top is leaning out.
Just hitting the final half of this race. He had such a good run going. Watch it here. A little bit, clip that curb, Cal.
I think he got
hit. And got clocked. There it is. Ah.
He completely broke the left front suspension.
That is a shame. I think that was the 25 of Chris Girala, who nothing he could do. He was trying to figure out a way to avoid it all. And
it's one of these circuits you ask for a little bit more and suddenly it's just going to give up on you. It's a be so disciplined here as we go full caution.
Yeah, and when he hit that curb, you just see it bounce the back end around, and that was that.
Actually, we're still local yellow.
Yeah, I think we are. And interestingly here, Taylor Hagler, she's been superb here. She has fought her way now. Before that happened, she had gone around both those guys and was up into 5th.
Yeah, and running lap times
now we're
within
full
a second
chorus
of the leaders, so
yes.
Great job by young Taylor.
Well done. And the full course caution flies.
Don't see that very often in these races. They typically go green. Just been some superb racing, great racecraft, great discipline by all of the drivers. Nice little reset here. Everyone have a chance to catch their breath and rethink how they're going to attack the final stages of this race. For Philippi, hasn't put a wheel wrong so far from the pole, albeit by the minutest of margins for that pole position.
Exactly.
But that was key. I mean, if he should pull off the victory today, you may say, well, I won this race on Friday in qualifying by being able to lead this field to green and control it. Just too dangerous to leave that Mazda sitting there. Obviously, so we see a lot of action here in the Shelton chicane. It's been named this weekend, Greg, because we lost a great racer from the Northwest.
Oh, we sure did. Monty Shelton, who is a legend here in the Pacific Northwest Racing, one of the co-founders of the Oregon region. Here's another look at the incident here. As right here, watch, boom.
Got real aggressive on the curbs there, just loses it momentarily, and just the other competitors were in close proximity there, nowhere for them to go.
So they're trying to get that Ives Motorsports South 6th entry cleared in the track. Meanwhile, while we're under caution, right now, pretty good day for Copeland Motorsports, leading overall, leading in Touring Car 8, Ryan.
Yeah, well represented in both of our classes. Dean Copeland's operation, much as you guys were at Sonoma, has to bring a smile to your face having cars leading in both classes at the moment.
Yeah, you know, right now it's pretty tight battle on both ends of the field there. You know, I know Mason's got all he can handle with Nate Vincent right behind him. You know, I think he's going to be okay. This caution's probably going to help us on tire wear for TCR a little bit. TCA, Maxon is doing what he's got to do right now. He just got the lead, got in front of our championship title contender and Nick Whitmer. As long as we can finish ahead of Nick, you know, it's a good day. So, you know, we'll see. You know, it's going to little lengthy caution here. There's a pretty good wreck down there. Looks like we'll probably get back green, maybe 7 or 8 minutes left. Hopefully they can bring it home.
Up front in the TCR class, Mason has such experience with this car, with this Hyundai. What has he been able to bring to your program as you branch out into TCR?
Yeah, Mason and all of the guys at Hyundai Motorsports have really brought a whole lot to our program. You know, they have a lot to offer. And, you know, everybody at Brian Hurd Autosports has been very helpful with all the support and, you know, a lot of, you know, behind-the-scenes help making that program really work. And, you know, Mason's a extreme talent behind the wheel. He knows what he's got to do. He's, you know, saving a little tire here and there, push here, push there, you know. So, you know, hey, we couldn't ask for more. We're leading both classes, so don't get much better.
And Tyler, for a young guy, he's got some experience. He gets a lot of seat time between this series and MX5 Cup.
Yeah, Tyler might be 14 years old, but he's been racing since he's 5, so don't take him for granted. He's an experienced veteran behind the wheel of some sort of racing machine, so he knows what to do. Don't take him for granted by his age, that's for sure.
We'll let you get back to work. Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, he's right about his Spec Miata SCCA racing, and you can run the Miatas in another category in SCCA and at the June Sprints. I mean, he was just on form there as well. He's the real deal.
Yeah, and seat time is what you need, particularly at that age, even though he's been running, it sounds like, for 10 years in competition. But when you jump up to cars, it's all about seat time and getting comfortable. But he looks really comfortable up front. He's keeping a very experienced Whitmer behind him nicely. It seems to have the speed down the straightaway, which is pretty critical here. If you got the track position and you have straightaway speed, tough for anyone behind you to deal with that.
It'll be interesting to see just what unfolds on the restart here. It looked like that Copeland Mazda had a little bit more pace in straight line than Whitmer. Haldeman still third, and if he'd run the fronts off just a little bit, this is just what he and Nuremberg would have won, especially after Nuremberg had that off. And there is Stephen Zhu, the 02, that was the car that unfortunately had nowhere to go and collected to Silva. Looks like car's at least drivable. And he's going to go out there and try and collect a few points here. And then Taylor Hagler with that great run up into 5th. It's interesting. She said she started doing some karting, and her dad said, yeah, I'm not really interested in that. So she went into equestrian show jumping and ended up naming a horse Bankrupt because her father said, boy, if I keep doing this, that's where I'm going to be. So they named the horse Bankrupt, and eventually they got out of that, and he said, all right, let's go back and do, and you want to do some racing, let's do some racing. And 2018, late 2018, 2019, she got her first win in pole in SCCA and NASA competition, and that run in the SCCA at Road Atlantic got the attention of Chris Haldeman, and they were looking to step up from club racing into a pro racing program, and they put a deal together, and she's really delivered, no question about that.
Maybe she calls this car second mortgage or something.
Exactly. This is really fascinating. I mean, we've got really, up even prior to the caution, a great battle for the lead in the overall and in TCR, great battle for the lead in TCR Cup, 7th overall, a great battle for the lead in TCA. And anybody who has needed just a little reset here got it. And the one that I'm kind of thinking could really find this one to his liking is Nuremberg. I mean, he looked really fast, and he had that off and lost a lot of ground.
Yep.
Have to see what he's able to deliver. We've seen him put up some pretty good runs in the past.
Has,
yeah.
And he's right with Haldeman there for this restart. I think they're actually maybe gap with some lap traffic to Maxon and Whitmer.
It's going to be interesting. I noticed there is one of the TCR Cup cars between Maxon and Whitmer, and that could play to Whitmer's advantage if that car gets by Maxon and then maybe holds him up a little bit into the Shelton chicane. But, yeah, you were talking about the renaming of that. The Festival Chicanes has been known for years. Shelton chicane. Monty Shelton, legend up here, and passed away recently at 85. In March, ran his last race at 85 years of age in a SCCA regional class VW Rabbit. He just could not drive. And it's a great loss, but, boy, what a nice thing for this track to do, to rename that the Shelton chicane. And we're about to get back into it in anger here, as looking for that green flag to come out. And it goes. And look at this. Vincent got a run.
And unlike the initial start, you cannot pass before the stripe. So Vincent putting the moves on here. No. Philippi did a nice job there, just rolling speed between 1 and 2 and taking that inside lane away.
McCann attacking on Gonzalez here. Hertzen looking at Vincent, wasn't close enough, and McCann not going to be able to get around Gonzalez.
Walker's got up in the wheel early on this restart compared to the initial start of the race, so he could be a factor here for a podium finish at least, if not more.
And we may see a little issue here as Cole, who was 3rd in the TCR Cup class, when he came by start-finish, he jumped to the lead. And you can't pass before the start-finish line. That could be a real issue for him. There he is in that silver entry. And Whitmer's gone around Maxon and picked up the lead.
Haldeman's right there. Nuremberg's right behind them. Hagler's not far behind. Argy-bargy coming off at turn 7. Someone takes to the weeds.
I think that was maybe Ben Bettenhausen who said, I don't want any part of this. I'm down a lap. That's my teammate leading. I'm getting out of the way. No, it was the 22 of Damon Scherzen, another Tech Sport teammate, who said, yep, go. He didn't want to balk Whitmer here. Boy, this is going to be fun right to the end. Look at that. Nuremberg up into 30. Got by Haldeman.
Yeah, well, look at Hagler. She's right with him.
Yes. This is an opportunity for Hagler. She's right behind Pombo, who's down a lap but is very quick, and opportunity for her to follow that Mini around a little bit. He's a very experienced driver. Haldeman trying to pop and go around the outside of Nuremberg. Couldn't get it done.
Whitmer trying to establish himself. I think he may have a little bit more lap time than Maxon, so he's trying to put that to good use and create that gap so he doesn't just keep getting driven by on the front straightaway. Needs enough of a gap by the time they get to that fast, high-speed chicane to hold it down the front stretch. I think that's his game plan. That's what he was thinking about, getting the lead and then trying to lay down some really good early laps as he's done so far.
Well, you talked about that. He just had a stunningly beautiful line through that 10-11 complex, didn't he? And he's going to need it here to fend off Maxon. Meanwhile, there's Filippi Vincent Hertzen in the 2 FCP Euro Team VWs, and then Walker.
Gonzalez is hanging with this lead quartet at the moment.
Yeah. Well, and we're kind of wondering, what does Vincent have left in the quiver? What are they saying, Ryan?
Cody Rigoni is the engineer for FCP Euro. The guys are wondering, do your cars have anything for the leader? What do you know?
Oh, absolutely. The FCP Euro Volkswagen GTI is super fast this weekend. And thanks to the guys from Heinlein Racing Development, we were here late last night doing a gearbox service to get the car back out on track for the race today. And thanks to our sponsors from Liqui-Moly, ZF Sachs, Corteco, Bosch, and Akibono, who allow us to put this program on for the season and have a good, fast, competitive car. Yeah, we definitely have something for the Hyundai here this weekend. Nate's been all over his bumper, and at this point, we're just looking for the right opportunity to pass. But talking to the guys during the caution, they're very happy with the car, and as you can see from the lap times, everybody's within a few tenths of a second, so it's a great BOP and great racing in the TCR class.
What does the caution do for your strategy, specifically in terms of keeping the tires under the car?
Well, we set the cars up to have a good car at the end, and whenever you have a caution in the middle, that allows everybody to reset and take a break. So from here on out, it's pretty much full send, and we're just trying to push the leader to see if he can burn his tires off, and we can have an opportunity at the end.
Good luck.
Thank you.
For the mailman.
Yeah.
Send it.
Send it, baby, absolutely. And Gonzalez is right there. He's close enough that he's kind of occupying Walker just a little bit here. So
Just
Victor.
laid down his fastest lap of the race,
Yeah.
so he's got the bit between his teeth right now.
And McCann actually running, he was
That's
faster
quicker.
than anybody in that group this last lap. Great, on 1:19.84.
That's nice to see.
Yes, it
It's
is.
going to be a great second part to this season, and seeing some of these teams who are starting to find their feet a little bit, drivers finding their confidence. It's going to really intensify this battle for wins in TCR.
And I'm looking at the monitor here, and suddenly I see Maxon down in 8th.
That's
Back up to
huge for
7th, so
Whitmer.
something big happened. And we didn't catch it. We were obviously watching this battle unfolding here, but something happened with Maxon. Yeah, that's massive, because Whitmer came in, I think it's an 11-point lead, and had Maxon won it, it would be 4.
Walker looks to the inside.
No.
So tough for such a
Yes.
high-speed approach that you don't really bleed off a ton of speed there. Particularly these TCR machines, they have so much downforce, Greg. They can really just nail themselves through these corners.
And the interesting thing here is now, did that compromise him through that 11-12 part of that? So he's not close enough to do anything down into the Shelton chicane here. Vincent a little closer this time. Vincent running his best lap at a 1:19.849. Yeah, he's reeling in Filippi right now.
Yeah, he's. I think he wants some wins. I mean, he knows that his teammate basically has the championship. Not in his pocket, there's a long way to go, but a healthy points lead. So just go out and win some races, have some fun, and see if he can start to put the pressure on Hertzen for the championship lead at the same time. As we see Whitmer there flash across the line. Big lead right now over Nuremberg.
Pombo, the second mini, there's a lap down, so it's Haldeman. There he is. Next car through, sitting third, your pole sitter. And Nuremberg's got to be loving having a wingman. And we're getting a report that, not sure where it happened, but that Maxon, word coming through that he had a spin in his pursuit of Whitmer.
He's going to be in hot pursuit now.
Yes, he is. Well, I'll tell you another great drive here, the 780 of Sally McNulty. This could be one of her better runs for this season. She comes up through time attack, single car time attack driving, and decided she wanted to try pro racing deal, set up her own team that runs in concert with X Factor, and she's having a really good go here.
Yeah, the Honda Civics really seem to be coming to the front a little bit more every weekend. This battle is not going anyway. Filippi has just been hitting his marks. It's been the perfect race so far. Saw a similar race today from Johann Schwartz winning in TC from the pole. Just didn't open up the door for his nearest competitors to sneak through, and Filippi's putting in a similar performance.
You've talked about it all weekend so far. This track position is huge, isn't it?
It's tough to pass. I mean, you get a run, but there's nowhere to just put it away. It's hard to complete the pass, so it takes traffic or a big mistake, a big off, to really make the move, unless you can really surprise someone and just bury it down to the inside and rub elbows with someone to make the move. Obviously, the Shelton chicane is one area. Oh, look at that McCann really wide, taking that Whitmer line.
Trying to. Did I just see a plume of smoke off of the back of one of the cars? There goes Hertzen down to defend a little bit.
He knows that the
Walker
car has some speed.
Boy, McCann now coming after Gonzalez for 5th. Nope.
James Walker's an engineer. He's going to try and think his way on at that podium somehow with just over 3 minutes to go. Did a test day here in an MX-5 Cup car on Thursday, and talking to Rick Mayer, his engineer at Risi Competizione, he said that was a huge help to not be coming to another circuit where he doesn't know the racetrack. So big leg up there in terms of coming to another new circuit for him.
It's kind of an accordion thing going on for Walker. He'll be all over the back of Hertzen, and then suddenly there'll be a 2, 3, 4 car length gap, and Gonzalez will be all over the back of Walker.
Yeah, I think it's that first sector where he really struggles with the Alpha.
Yep.
Sector 2 and 3 seems to be really strong. That's what they're into right now. Will traffic play the part here? Will Mason Philippi get their nice run through traffic? They're going to get some more before they finish this deal.
Well, Walker, I talked to him a little bit earlier, and he said that he's really strong. He said, I have a nasty tendency going into the Shelton chicane to go too fast through one. And
there is smoke on that Alpha.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's tire rub or something. I thought when he came through 11 and 12 there was, when the car was loaded maybe, he's rubbed on someone. Look at this, Philippi trying to get through that traffic. Don't see anything from that camera shot, but when the car was fully loaded through that 11-12 section, leaders clear the traffic. Philippi's still in front.
Yes, but by nothing. Car length at best. There's Hertz. Yeah, that's enough. I'm just trying to build some drama here.
Well, I think Vincent is not afraid to send it, as his crew chief alluded to. It's that time.
Yep, he's got this lap and one more.
There's a lot of respect amongst this camp as well.
Yes, there is.
TCR drivers, they're not just going to take someone out to try and grab the big points. It has to be relatively on.
Gonzalez, Walker is suddenly dropping back. Keep an eye on it. There's Hertzen. There's Gonzalez. There's McCann. Walker has an issue.
Yeah.
We saw some smoke.
Maybe it wasn't tire rub.
Oh, Haldeman. Is that Haldeman who's off? So they were seeing some smoke, reports of smoke from him on the back straight.
Oh, that's a bad place to stop. And
there's Walker. Oh, boy. Wow, huge developments here late in the going. Is that the exit of... That's the exit of...
It's exit of turn 7.
7, yeah. White flag, 1 to go. Philippi, Vincent, Hertzen. Now Gonzalez and McCann, your top 5. Putt, Vita, and Cole.
Could have a couple of local yellows that will help out Philippi in terms of Vincent being able to make a move here. We've got a couple of stranded cars around the racetrack.
This is going to be huge here. Getting through turn 7. Yeah, you're right. Exit of 7, and he just pulled over here. Boy, this is going to be fascinating because up into, you can't pass now. That yellow zone runs this whole back stretch. Wow. But Philippi's not going to be able to, you can't make this pass if you're still under a yellow. Oh, they pulled it. They pulled it, so he's fine. Boy, that would have been ugly, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's tricky with the traffic, too.
Yes, absolutely. But it doesn't matter if you're...
Vincent really wide.
Giving it, and he sent it. But here comes Philippi. Another big win. Great run by Mason Philippi. Vincent second, Hertzen third. And then with Walker's issues, Cal, Gonzalez up into 4th and McCann 5th.
Great
what a
battle.
Run. Yeah.
Great job by Mason. Another win.
And he had to be perfect, didn't he?
He did.
That simple. Brian Putt winning in the TCR Cup, 6th overall. Vita 2nd in that class, and Christian Cole up into 3rd. And then Whitmer, Norenberg, and Maxson, after his spin, augured his way back through Cal up to 3rd.
Wow, what a recovery drive for Maxson.
Unbelievable. Talk about minimizing the flow. Those points were just draining away, and man, did he come back. Girallo 4th and Taylor Hagler 5th. Sally McNulty 6th, her best finish of the season. Nicely done. I think Ben Bettenhausen, he recorded his best finish of the season by 2 spots. He had a 9th earlier, 7th. So good run for him. And here comes Whitmer. I guess I kind of put the cart before the horse there, as they hadn't come through yet, so we'll see Leo Whitmer right to the wall for tech squirt. Oh, they love that.
Awesome.
Yep.
He had a lot of pressure on him. I think that restart and just gapping Maxson. Obviously, Maxson had his quick spin and dropped down the order a little bit further, but
here's Maxson. What a comeback drive. That was stellar. Norenberg 2nd. Great run for Mini. Then Mini JCW entry. And Girallo 4th and Hagler 5th. We have had just a group of great races.
It's a great day.
It really has. You know what, I was talking with at breakfast this morning with race director Brian Hughes, who's here covering for Peter Roberts this weekend, and I said, anything big from, you know, Friday and the like? And he went, Greg, if I have 2 more days like the one we had yesterday, I'll be the happiest guy in the world. And we just had another day that was just that good. Here's a look at the provisional results. Again, round 9 for the TCR category machines, round 7 for TCA. And there you see the confirmation. If it's a white background, it's TCR Cup. And that's Putt, Vita, and Cole. And then gray background is the TCA class. And then you can see Walker eventually ending up classified as 12th. After having pulled off, but it was good to see him as racy as it is. And you see him that fast in this race. His MO has been in the 2nd race. He starts setting fast laps and doing some pretty amazing stuff. So I'm sure the team's got their fingers crossed that that repeats.
Fastest lap of the race goes to our championship leader, Michael Hertzen, at 1:19.6, but really close. Just a few tenths between the top 6 in class.
Yeah, super, super close stuff. You got to love that. And Mason Filippi, just a superb job. And it's really fun because Mason's dad is one of those high ping guys. He's just always on full ping. And Mason is just so chill when he gets out of the car and talks to you. There he is. And just an absolutely exceptional run, Ryan. He put another one together.
Yes, he did. Some congratulations, and well-deserved for Mason Filippi. Another race win. Congratulations. You had to earn that one, though. You had a lot of pressure coming from behind.
Yeah, the FCP Euro guys, they were pressuring me the whole time. They did a great job. Great team, and so it's always fun racing against Nate and Michael, and it was a great race. The Hyundai Veloster and TCR by Copeland Motorsports was awesome, though. It was fantastic. It was super consistent, super easy to drive. Just kept the tires underneath me, and those P0s held on. It was great.
How complicated were those final laps? You had the standing yellows in various places around the track that you had to cope with, plus out-of-class traffic.
Yeah, so the standing yellows, I didn't think we were going to catch out-of-class traffic again, but we ended up catching them, and that really made it interesting, and it really just kept me on my toes the whole time.
Looking forward to seeing your race, too.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
And that's a serious concern, and I'm sure we're going to get down and hear from these guys, but it doesn't matter. I said, if you're 10 seconds a lap faster in a yellow zone, you can't pass those slower cars.
Right.
And if that had timed out differently, it really could have throttled him up just a little bit, and they cleared that car at just about a couple seconds before it would have really affected him. And he played it well, that's for sure.
2 FCP Euro machines celebrating Scott Droz, the CEO's wedding yesterday. So a good points day, and Hertzen will start from the pole tomorrow, courtesy of that fast lap today.
Both of them up on the podium, yeah. Those two guys, you know, not only do they are they great racers, but they're great friends, and they really have some fun. Now let's check in with our TCA winner, and boy, what a story of 2 different segments to a race, Ryan.
Yeah, it was a wild race for you, Nick. How would you assess your performance here today?
Like you just said, it was a wild race. We had some crazy passes going out there, and every single one of those crazy passes I thought contact was making, and not one, nothing. not one contact. So it was a beautiful race. A lot of passing going on, a lot of different leaders. For sure, Max in the Mazda, he was really hard. If he was in front of me after the restart, he would have probably got me, but he made an error, I guess. I didn't see him anymore in the mirror. No one else was in the mirror, and I was like, that's it, I'm taking it home.
You mentioned the close calls, but clean racing. What does that say about the level of driving talent in TCA?
The TCA drivers, I didn't have no issues with them. They give room, but they give not room, you know? So, again, not one scratch on the cars, on any of the cars. It was an amazing race. I mean, I can't believe I won this race. I thought when I was at the beginning of the race, I was like, this is going to be a tough one. Stuff happens in 40 minutes, you don't know. So, took it home.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Very talented driver from Montreal, Quebec, as you take a look there at Mount Hood and at our results one more time. Again, 9th round for TCR, 7th for TCA, and then tomorrow, I love it, we get to do it again, and if it's as close as this one was, it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be better.
Yeah, and track position was king today, so for Hertzen, the championship leader, he'll start from the pole, and I think Vincent may be alongside him, so this is going to be exciting to see what they can do from the front row tomorrow. Maybe they can keep Philippi off that top step.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see where Whitmer, Nuremberg, Max in that group, who had the best lap, and is going to be able to come out and put on a show here. And I mean, Pombo didn't have a great finish with that issue, but he probably set a really strong lap. Go back, take a look at some of the highlights here, and see Walker getting racy right off the go. Just couldn't quite get through, and it actually hurt him. But it was Filippi who led right off the go.
Yeah, that right lane really got the jump at the start, but Walker couldn't do anything with it. And then the two FCP Euro machines started to put the heat on Filippi.
And this battle unfolding here in TCA. And that's what Whitmer was talking about. He got down to the inside of Maxon, and Maxon came over on him a little bit. And he said they give room, but not a lot of room, but no contact. Haldeman right there, Nuremberg right there. Just incredible stuff. In this moment, it gave us our lone caution, the contact right there between Stephen Joe and De Silva, and it gave us the caution on the restart. Mason Philippi held on, and Whitmer drove away.